Marvin is here. Let me know it's live.
Says it is, so I assume we can go ahead and get started. Yes.
Yep,
Okay.
it is live, it's shown live.
Awesome. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Académie Lafayette Board of Directors meeting for September. Hopefully everybody had a chance to review the agenda. I assume we can go ahead and get started. Whoop, and we have sound issues.
It is live, it's shown live.
Awesome. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Académie Lafayette Board of Directors meeting. Mr. Inman, can you mute while you're figuring out the sound issues?
The live feed.
The agenda.
One second, I have to mute the live. That's the key thing.
Great. Sound issues.
It's just a muting. Voila.
Okay.
Let's continue.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda for tonight?
So moved, Marvin.
Second, Harriet.
Oh, there you go.
Any discussion? Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Oh, thank you. Then minutes, everybody has minutes by email. Oh, wait, do we have any stakeholder comments? I hadn't seen an email about stakeholder comments. I assume no.
There's none.
Okay. Then yes, so everybody has the August minutes in your email. Can I get a motion to approve minutes?
So moved, Michelle.
Second, Harriet.
Any discussion? Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. And I don't see Alonda on. I know she mentioned she was having trouble finding the link. I had emailed it to her. Is she in the waiting room by chance?
Let me check. Nope, there's nobody there.
Okay, I don't know what happened to Alonda. Oh, she is trying to log in. It's asking her for an ID. Any idea why that would be?
There's no ID in this meeting.
Can we move to the next thing and come back to Alonda once she figures out how to get in? Would that be all right?
So you guys have been invited to the meeting. Please accept the invitation so that it will stay in your calendar. If you don't accept it, it may not be there.
So that might have happened with her. Is it all right to move to the next item and come to her when she gets logged in? Any issues?
Okay.
I don't have a problem.
By me.
Okay. It's finance.
Okay, hi, everybody. Here's a list of the items we'll be going over in the next few slides. Accounts payable, our payments, and our summer changes, our projections. And I want to talk to you a little bit in a minute about budget revisions. And then we'll also be requesting a motion to go ahead and expend the money to fix the oak stairs and asphalt. Okay, next one. Okay. First, before we move, do you have any questions on accounts payable? Everybody did receive this. You can stay on this slide. Everybody received a list. Some of the things that we went over more closely or had questions on, just quickly to go over. We prepaid our insurance this year, and this month had the cyber insurance on it. It was a little over 13,000. So that was something we used to fund over 12 months. There were a lot of the end of summer school activities and supplies, so there were quite a few expenses there in budget. You'll also notice that we finally purchased the HR platform called Bamboo, something that we've been talking about and Mr. Bang's been encouraging us to do. There were quite a few IB registrations. Those are all CSP federal grant. There is $60,000 for all the new desks we needed to socially distance for both buildings. That's split almost evenly between Oak and Cherry. We had new 5th grade classes at Cherry that we hadn't already gotten the furniture for. And there were a lot of startup supplies. Harriet asked a couple questions. There's musical instruments for both Oak and Armor. And those all came in 1 month. So those were the items that jumped out and we had discussion on. If there's anything else, I'd be glad to answer. I didn't get any emails.
So moved to approve accounts payable for August.
Second.
Any discussion? Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, so next thing is to, this is an easy month again. We only have 1 month in this fiscal year so far that there's actually closed. So it's just July. So you see in July, our year to date, which is the 1 month revenue is a little over $1 million and a budget was 1.3. And I just want to point out again that when we do our budgets now, we take the total revenue for the year and divide it by 12 months. But in July, August, and September, we're not going to get our current ADA. We're getting paid on last year's ADA and no summer school. So October is the month where you'll see a more closely aligned budget. A couple of things I do want to talk about and point out. So you see the column on the right, the total budget, that's little over $16 million. That is our budget that was approved in June, sorry. And a couple of things since then, more than a couple, but 2 of the biggest things that are going to spur us to do a budget amendment is that once the attendance was done, and we're still going through audit on this, so it could change, but we could have a budget amendment that increases the state payment by $167,000 up to a little over $200 due to the ADA changes for the April and May in-person attendance. So once the school buildings opened, the attendance was really good for those last few months, and that takes precedence over the attendance from the previous year. So we have at least $167,000 to the good to add. And the other thing is federal revenue. We have a carryover of about $370,000. So total of a little over $500,000. So that's why I think this year, for the first time since we know the revenue changes, we'll be asking you to do a budget amendment. We're not quite there yet. Mr. Bang and I are really going through some of the staffing and making sure that's okay before we finish that. So any questions on that? Okay. So the next one. The next one summarizes both revenue and expenses. We don't know of any expense variances yet that will go into our request for a budget amendment, but there will be some that has to do with ESSER 2 carryover and ESSER 3 allocation. We budgeted the entire ESSER 3 allocation and believe now we might want to move some of that, or we'll be able to move some of that to 22-23, which is a good thing. So just showing that we don't have any recommendations right now for changes in expenses, but for our forecast, we do believe that the $537,000 is additional revenue that we did not budget. So our budget was just to break even, a little over $27,000. With just that variance, it'd be over $500,000. But we also have some additional expenses that we'll add in there for ESSER 2. So our first month, we just believe that we're going to have the carryover is going to impact enough that we need to do a budget revision. Okay, next one. So I'm going to just go over a few of the things. So we have increased prior year average daily attendance and federal programs carryover. our ESSER 2 carryover and additional expenses. We believed when we received that $400 and some thousand for ESSER 2, we were going to spend it all in the 2021 year, which we didn't. So we have about half of it carried over. And then ESSER 3 and a potential carryover into 22-23. I'm sorry, I put 23-24. And then we also want to look at our enrollment. Our current enrollment is under budget, but about where we thought we would be toward the end of the year. You know, we take the ADA and we have students removed. So we need to review that. And we were under 7 for our target for summer school add-on. So those are the major considerations that we'll take into account. Okay, next. Any questions on that? Okay, next slide. So we know about the Oak Stairs asphalt and the delivery entrance sidewalk. The building committee reviewed all of those and gave us some ideas so for next time when we have to get some bids, we probably ought to square that up a little bit. I'll work with Marvin and Michael on that in terms of getting scopes that are similar. So I do need a motion that we would approve up to $100,000 to complete all the work on the damaged concrete and asphalt, which could be done in phases, and we'll go back and revisit that. And last, we don't have an update on the Cherry Playground. We're still in discussions on what we need to do and what Heather and her team would prefer to do over at the Cherry location. Hopefully by next meeting, we might have the analysis done on that so we can bring that up and vote on that move. Any questions about all the work that needs to be done? Obviously, it is a lot. And like, I think just a reminder, in the past, that wasn't really even on our radar in terms of all of the building issues that we needed to look at. It happened after that February freeze.
I think we need a
Where
minute.
does this money come out of?
It's just going to come out of our reserves. We don't have a cap. I mean, we're going to come out of reserves. We have that cap. We have the 400 and some thousand in capital emergency fund. For me, I would recommend just using our current operating, so we pay for capital out of operating, rather than going into any of our. We don't need to go in the line of credit. We don't need to draw down anything from the emergency fund at this point.
Did we, on budget, did we approve, when we set our budget, was that even in our budget?
No, because we did not talk about capital in our budget. So no, it's not in the budget, because this is going to be capital expenses, not operating expenses. However, this will impact the end of the year because it will come out of operating and it's a capital expense.
So when you do your budget revision, you'll put this in there.
I can do that, absolutely.
Yeah, there
I
was
move,
questions.
I move that we approve this expenditure.
I'll second it. This is Harriet.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. So the motion, I think we should probably be clear on what it is we're approving, just for the record. But the way the motion is written on the agenda here, it says, as reviewed by the building committee and vendor selection by administration. Does that mean that we're selecting a vendor based on our adopted policies of, that includes whatever our policies are with respect to getting multiple bids and MBE, WBE contractors, things like that? Is that what that means?
Yeah. So I mean, the building committee and Marvin. So they had three bids, and we have selected one that can do all of the work. And I don't believe the company itself would qualify. I don't know about the workers. We had the 3 bids. We got one from MC Realty that they work with, a local bid, and then somebody that we've worked with in the past, which was McConnell and Associates.
Right, yeah, no, I just
These
wanted to
are-
make sure we were going through the process that we've adopted and not just picking somebody. That's really all. I just wanted it to be stated that we went through our adopted policy to select the vendor.
I think the intent was as reviewed by the building committee, at which point they would have had that part of the process in their review.
Yeah, I think this motion just needs to be reworded, I think, because if they've already reviewed and selected, it should just be, we're approving the capital expenditures up to 100,000 to complete work on damaged concrete and asphalt at Oak, to be provided by a vendor, as recommended by the building committee. Does that make sense? That means they already went through their process and are recommending this vendor.
So I withdraw my motion. And we're going to follow up by making a motion. I move to approve capital expenditure up to $100,000 to complete work on damaged concrete and asphalt at Oak as recommended by the building committee.
And
I'll second
also-
that. This is Mike.
Marvin, I'm sorry, would you repeat that again? Because it's not exactly the way it was written, which I already have down.
Sure. I move to approve capital expenditure up to $100,000 to complete work on damaged concrete and asphalt at Oak as recommended by the building committee.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any discussion? Everyone in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
That concludes everything that we had because we only had 1 month to report on. So any other questions, I'd be glad to answer, or you can send me an email.
And thank you for clearing that for me. Sorry, I didn't mean to be a pain in the ass, but just wanted to be clear for the record when we're spending that much money.
All right, Development Committee, is it Celia?
Sorry, didn't unmute myself.
It's always fun.
Good evening, everybody. For the last month, we've had the annual raffle preparation, which we launched last Friday, the 10th, along with, it was shared on all the social media platforms and emailed to our community. We started a t-shirt contest for the students, which began last Thursday, and it's running through this Thursday. So the students will be able to design the t-shirt for the annual raffle. We provided the rules and regulations and guidelines for the raffle. We're going to be doing classroom assemblies. We were going to do it this week, but it's going to be pushed out till next week. We've also been generating donations and sponsorships. I'm also going to put in the chat the link to the platform that we're currently using, which is through Rally Up, and it is the platform that is where we can receive donations as well as signups for the students as well. That way, if anybody has questions, they can also reach out to me if they have anything. So I will send it here in the chat here in a minute. We've been securing new grants and soliciting individual and corporate donations. We've been developing and tracking proposals and reports, along with outlining a consistent multi-channel communication plan to retain our donors and to keep our supporters inspired. So what this will allow is donors and supporters can follow, be engaged, and support AL closely any way they can. So, and I believe that's it for me. I'm going to send this in the chat. So if anybody is interested in, and I hope everybody is, in supporting AL, here is the link. So I will place it in here.
Great. Thanks, Celia.
Welcome.
Any questions for development? All right. Up next, governance.
Governance. So updates on identifying the new sponsor. I don't know, Mr. Bang, if you've had any more conversations since our meeting midweek last week, but I know you've been talking with Missouri Charter Public School Commission. You've been talking with the various sponsors, and I think the next steps are, when those are narrowed down, it's still to have the then have them meet with the governance committee, and we'll work toward narrowing down a recommendation for the board.
Yes, we have, I've talked to few people, notably the commission, the Missouri Charter School Commission. Robin will be visiting Kansas City next week, and Beth and I will meet with her. Robin is the executive director of the Missouri Charter School Commission. She will be here on Tuesday. At the same time, I had been in contact with University of Missouri, St. Louis. Remember that university withdrew from sponsoring any charter school in St. Louis. So I had a conversation with Susan Marino about the possibility of sponsorship too, to consider it. And she went on and talked to her board, and they decided to reconsider their situation, their position, so to sponsor charter schools in Kansas City. So Susan will be visiting Kansas City next week too, and Beth and I will meet with her on Monday, September the 20th. So I have been also in contact with, of course, UCM about pursuing some sort of collaboration that would allow us to benefit from H-1B exemption. So that's another one also we're pursuing.
And I would say, I mean, I think University of Missouri St. Louis, they initially were not willing to sponsor Kansas City charter schools. They got added to the list because they sponsor the language immersion program in St. Louis. And so we're a little bit intrigued, is my understanding, to learn about Lafayette. So they are potentially willing to reconsider. So depending on how these initial meetings go that Mr. Mbang and I have, as Michelle mentioned, then the committee would have the opportunity to have sort of a more formal presentation and ask questions of the potential sponsors. So, and do we know from legal that we would not encounter any visa issue? Because there's always this worry, if we just have a partnership, not sponsorship, do we know for sure that it won't cause any visa issues if we just have a partnership with a university versus a sponsorship?
No, because it has been a recommendation from our attorney, our immigration attorney who make the recommendation. And coming from the French school network, who are mainly private schools, some of them went around that cap by building partnership with some universities. So that's what you need to do. And again, that was the recommendation from our immigration attorney.
Okay. Any other questions that anyone has on the sponsor, new charter sponsor? All right, then just a little training reminder, and I just sent you guys an email just confirming the 3 trainings, the vector trainings from the board. So it's a total of 1 hour and 45 minutes. If you do the 3, break them up. They just need to be done by November 1st. All of that goes toward the annual training goal commitment, which could change when we change sponsors. So I don't know what the exact number of hours are that we're going to be required to do, but I know it'll be more than 1 hour and 45 minutes. So this will work toward that. And it's all online. So you just have to kind of carve out a little bit of time to do one at a time, and just keep that on focus for November 1st. And then just shoot me an email if anybody has any, if you come across things that you want to do for training to fulfill those things, just shoot me an email on those, because other people may want to, and I'll keep an eye out for some things as well, just so we can help fill those hours. And then I think the last thing is there's an independently owned local bookstore, Bliss Books and Wine, and we need a motion to support their application for a liquor license because they are within, a certain footprint of the school building, and so we need to vote on this to approve it. And I don't know, Jackie, do you have any other information to add to that?
I mean, I would just add, I was excited to hear from Jackie. Anybody who's not familiar with Bliss Books and Wines, definitely look into it. They're a wonderful locally owned company, minority owned by female. So a wonderful company to be aware of. And the school is also talking with them about how we utilize them to order some of our books. So they're a fabulous company that I would highly recommend connecting with.
Yeah, good community partner.
Yep. So I think we just, oh yeah.
Jackie and I met with the owner,
Okay.
and we were able to ask all kind of questions to make sure that it would not cause any harm to our school community.
Yes, they're a wonderful business, so I am sure that it would not cause any harm. So I would definitely recommend that motion. But any other questions about who they are or what the motion is? Okay.
So move to approve the motion.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, motion carries.
All right, that's all for governance.
Diversity Committee. Looks like Kelly is here, but I'm gonna go ahead and Beth and I maybe. So we moved our our meeting was supposed to be this week, but we decided to move it until next week because some of the members of the committee were not available. So what we've done, Beth and Katie and I worked to see how we can better organize our meetings and making sure that we focus on the calendar of activities and also on our priorities. That's why we're reviewing updated strategic goals and to develop a calendar of activities for 21-22 school year. And based on that, we're also working on a template agenda to better focus on those meetings on those priorities and data review, because what we're trying to avoid is having meetings that are going all over the place, making sure that we're reviewing data that are pertinent to what we're trying to do, and also discussing activities that will serve those priorities. So our next meeting will be held Wednesday next week, September 22nd. Beth and Kelly, do you want to add?
Nothing else. I think you were right on just being much more purposeful about how can the committee support the priorities that this board voted on revising over the summer, being much more purposeful and using data to know is the work that we are focused on really moving the dial in the way we want. So yes, I'm excited at the work that the committee is doing. Any questions about diversity committee? All right, head of school report next.
Okay, we have the COVID situation, and then Robin will do the 21-22 enrollment, mainly the data about applications, and I'll talk about the academic program. So COVID situation. So I shared with you this. It's great that last week was a good one. We have 0 COVID cases, but I think we have a couple of quarantine cases only. So this is what it looks like since the beginning of the school year. Any questions? Just want to also thank the nurses. We'll talk about it again. Kirsten is doing a really great job helping us. Now, I think since I sent this, the data kind of changed a little bit, change every minute. So as of Monday, September the 13th, Christian sent me another email saying that we have 95 who responded to the survey. It's no longer 84, 95. And among them, 89 submitted their vaccination card, which is a rate of 93% based on what we have. It's out of 111. So we still have some people who have not responded to the survey. So the principals and myself, we are approaching those people to submit their card or answers of the survey, whether or not they have been vaccinated. So that's where we are. So again, we are at 93% based on those 95 who answered the survey and who submitted their vaccination card. Testing application has been submitted to the state. We expect testing information and consent forms to be sent to all parents on Tuesday or Wednesday this week. And our first testing date should be September the 28th. So it is coordinated or supported by the Missouri Health and Human Service, the Department of Health and Human Services. So, and they will send us 2 nurses for each building to help with the pool testing. So initially we thought that since we did not have a clear date of starting, we wanted to start our own program at least for a couple of weeks, but we said that it's better to wait until September 28th. Otherwise, we'll be sending twice consent form. So on 28th, we will be starting pool testing, and they'll be supporting us. For teachers, we'll come back to that. It will be available to teachers and staff and students. So this is the motion that is being proposed. The COVID-19 committee meets every other week. The last time, we met and made a recommendation based on the trend throughout the country, making sure that we are requiring weekly testing for non-vaccinated staff and teachers, but also giving additional 14 days of sick days to vaccinated teachers and staff in the event they are quarantined or isolated because of COVID. The starting date needs to be fixed probably, and we'll let them know to be ready. For those who have not submitted yet their vaccination card. Yes, that's, Beth, do you wanna?
No, I think that basically covered it. I think we wanted to align with what most others are doing, that if you are not vaccinated or cannot prove that you're vaccinated, we can't sort of take just their word that they're vaccinated, that we will mandate testing for teachers. So it will be a requirement either to be vaccinated or to get tested each week. And because there's no longer the federal policy to allow for the paid leave related to COVID, we wanted vaccinated teachers to know that if they're doing everything they can to not get COVID, we don't want them to be penalized with their lack of sick days. So giving them the ability to utilize sick days in the event of infection or quarantine. And I sent an email with the actual revisions, because you'll remember last year we approved a COVID policy that just said vaccinations are highly encouraged. And so we revised that policy to add those 2 key points to it.
Are we doing the testing?
Pardon?
How's this going to work?
It's going to be a pool test.
Come in Monday, get tested, and then what happens? Who's doing the testing?
So the Department of Health and Human Services will send 2 nurses at each campus, and they'll work with our nurses. They will create pools of maybe 20 of 20 tests. So they'll test the whole pool, and then if there's any positive case, they'll test each of those 20 people to determine who is that positive case. So in generally, the return speed is mainly then I think the next day or maybe before. I know that last year when we did it was pretty quick to know.
But with these pools, I guess my question is, with these pools, isn't that we're taking certain people? If we have 10 teachers or 10 or 12 teachers that are that don't believe in the vaccination, then they are going to be tested every week. Am I correct?
Yes, and the teachers also who opt to be tested.
They're what? I'm sorry.
So for the non-vaccinated teachers, testing is mandatory. For vaccinated teachers, it's optional. They can opt to be tested on a weekly basis, just like the students.
Okay. And what kind of test is this?
That is test provided by the Department of Health and Human Services.
But it's not the nose test.
Is it the nose test that
It's
they
not
do?
the nose.
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't think so.
I thought the nurses said it is not. I mean,
Yeah,
for students,
no, I don't think it's the nose. It is not. It's not the nose swab. It's clear that it's not the nose test.
Right. We are not doing any nose testing. Those things are very hard and very painful.
So those 10 or 12 teachers that are not vaccinated, they are not doing a nose test.
No, we're not administering the nose test. It's a different test.
Okay.
But I believe it's still a PCR test, right?
That's my understanding. Yes. I mean, it is the one that is very effective. I'm not an expert on this, but I think it was called the PCR.
Yeah, but I think that is what they said in the task force meeting. So.
Did these people just volunteer to come to our school? How did we set this up? Did we call them and say, hey, we want you to come once a week and test our kids?
No, it's as I said it here on the first time. You see, schools submit application to the state to be able to benefit from that program. Last year we had the same program kind of, but we were paying for it. This time it's free.
Okay. All right.
And that's huge that they're sending 2 nurses so that our school nurses can actually do their day job.
Yes. I mean, I will say our school nurses are working around the clock to sort of keep our kids safe. They are doing a phenomenal job identifying what resources are available, how to take advantage of those resources, not to mention all of the contract tracing and all of those things that have to happen. So they are really doing a very impressive job. Any chance you have the opportunity to, please say thank you to them, because I think they get a lot of the heat as well.
Yeah.
So if there's no other questions, I think we need a motion to approve the revised COVID policy.
So moved, Michelle.
Second.
Any discussion? Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
Robin.
Yes, hello. So the current screen shows a list of different things. So the first line is all apps that were submitted. So I wanted to give you guys an update of all the applications that I received for this year, since we've already started school. So the first line is all apps, and then you see for each grade. So we did receive a total of 671 applications. For you, Beth, there is unique apps. I finally got that on there. And so you can see that. And unique apps means that they only apply to our one school. That's what that means. 202 only applied to Académie Lafayette in all of those grades. in each of those grades. And then our accepted apps. So out of the 671, the accepted apps, obviously we have a cap. And so there's your total of 217. And then there are each grades. And then our current waitlisted numbers you see as well.
Okay.
And Robin, remind me, so the pre-K 76 waitlisted, those are, wow, that's a high number. There is a lot of demand for pre-K.
Yeah, absolutely. And so of course, and I also encourage parents to apply, but I really didn't need to encourage them to apply, but apply because obviously, I can reach out to them for kindergarten next year. So they will get information. They'll get information for, online open houses and such. And reason why, obviously, like you said, it's high. We have a low number of seats available. And then another reason why the discrepancy between 129 and 76, you have to meet the requirements of free and reduced lunch. And so even out of those 76, I have not been able to go in and update that as of yet, but I will do that too.
So the 76, we don't necessarily know if they all qualify for those seats.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right.
And remind me, what's our ninth grade cap this year?
35.
35.
So yeah, we were following the meeting last month. We offered more all the way to the rest of the wait list. So we have kind of a couple of new applications after that.
Okay, next slide. And this is just a breakdown of them. I know for sure I did kindergarten. I knew this would be of interest. And then you can just see our total minority applicants and our non-minority applicants. All right, next slide. No questions. This is all grades, demographics as well. You see our minority total and our non-minority total. Next slide. And we had our second first day of pre-K. And so here are some photos of the first day of our kiddos. And also to that note, we have 2 new French preschool teachers. So in addition to our pre-K, we also go into the preschools and teach French to the kids and get them excited about it. All right, next slide, more pictures. And I think that's it. Yep.
Thank you very much. As we've done for the last few months, I want to recognize some of our staff who have been doing a fantastic job. I think that I would start by thanking all our teachers and staff. Everybody has worked really hard to be where we are. Of course, it's not easy, but I would say that our nurses have done a fantastic job. This is the new nurse at Cherry, Megan Wisnan. Nurse Megan joined our team during a pandemic, and we appreciate all her hard work and navigating this strange new COVID world. It's not always easy, but she's doing a great job. This is Krista Pillar, who is a receptionist at the Oak campus. She has been instrumental in reopening the Oak campus and decoration, signage, and food. Thank you, Krista. It's always a pleasure to be at the reception also. Doing a great job. And Nurse Kristen Carlson, she continues to be a rock of strength and healing to students and staff in the weary time of COVID. Kristen has been working really hard, weekend and all after school hours. I work with her for different reports and helping in different things. So I think that, and also the summer, she was done a great job. She also works with Alexis at Oak. So for the academic program report, I would like to just share, I already talked about the K2 improvement project. What we are trying to do is for the next 3 years, focusing on the French immersion and mathematics, making sure our kids' French level is at the level we want it to be, and also improving mathematics skills for the K2. I worked with a committee composed of a teacher at each building, grade level teacher, one kindergarten, one first and one second grade at each building. We meet every other week. And the principal or vice principals coordinating those division. We've met to discuss French immersion, reading, writing, and speaking, and also acquiring resources, and also mathematics, the same thing. What we want is our current kindergarten, when they get to third grade, to be extremely advanced. That's what we want to do. But also, as you know, last year has been extremely difficult also for kids, and our kids' test scores in math has been decreased dramatically, I would say. I'd say it as it is, and we're looking into that. It will be an embargo. The embargo may be lifted maybe next month and will be shared with the board. I may share with you the preliminary results so you can have an idea what I'm talking about. English decreased, but was fine. But math was substantial. I think that after 1 year of course and supporting kids, we'll be back to where we supposed to be. Science also decreased, but was fine too. But the main focus is math one, that we are working with the principals to see how we can support those kids by with academic support, but also increasing the instructional time in mathematics and training for best practice in math. So this is the teacher retention rate. Remember that if you look at the board calendar of data calendar, this month is for teacher retention and what else? The student retention, we can't do it now because we need to wait until the core data in October. So it's mainly teacher retention rate and student retention rate for this month, September. So what we have here is by building and also the whole district, how much we have. So we are 1 point shy of our minimum goal of 85%. At Alma, which is the 80% retention rate, just to let you know that there, out of the 6, 3 were not renewed. So the teachers that we decided not to renew. And also remember also that last year we did not receive our 7 teachers we hired, so many of the other teachers were substitute some of them had to relocate out of Kansas City. So, but this is where we are at this time for our teacher retention rate. Any questions? Okay, move forward. Staffing updates. 3 teachers have arrived from France and Belgium. They're at Arma and Oak. 3 others will be here soon. France and Mali, I think this week, probably today, maybe. There we have 2 coming from France. The other one is a teacher that would be coming from Mali for the high school. We hired him a little bit to come and support and get ready for next school year. I just would like also to really give a thank you to the French embassy. Has been extremely helpful in getting expedited appointment for those teachers coming from France. I think were it not for the French embassy help and work with the American embassy over there, we may be having some issues. So, and Dorothy has played a great role. I want to thank her too. Dorothy is the Oak vice principal. She's also connected with Amity Institute, because we still have two interns in France who needs an expedited visa. Hopefully we will have those 2 interns here. Initially, Amity was supposed to provide 5 interns, and the French embassy another 5 interns. The French embassy's interns are here because of course, that collaboration. And one of the Amity interns is here too, because it's not coming from France, coming from Senegal. So she was not affected by the COVID restriction. And out of those 5, 2 others decided to wait until next year. So they are not coming. So then we'll be having 3 from Amity and 5 from the French embassy.
And how are the interns sort of dividing their time? I know it's less interns than what we typically have. How are they divided then into the classrooms?
Well, I will check with principal and get back to you. I don't know exactly how it's divided. I know that probably each building may have some interns, but we will be shy of. We'll have 2 less interns than what we previously requested.
So my question is, how many did we want altogether when we started out?
How many interns? 10 interns, because we have 10 kindergarten classes.
Okay, and we ended up with 8.
8, yeah. We may have 8 because so far we have 6 here. 2 we're still working on their visas and appointment.
Okay. And what did we do with the first grade? They didn't want interns. Is that correct?
No, the first grade, the issue we have is initially at the very beginning when we did our budget, we wanted 14 interns, 10 for the kindergarten and 4 for first grade, 2 for each building to support struggling kids. But faced with the difficulty to find host families, a decision was made to just have 10. I think it was a mistake anyway. And we ended up requesting only 10.
Okay.
So what we are doing now is trying to find additional paraprofessionals. This year we'll be hiring 2. We would like to hire 2 French-speaking paraprofessionals per building to help support those kids. It's very difficult to find teachers or paraprofessional anyway. So that's what we are trying to do. Okay. And also the academic support will start soon. So one other thing we did is hiring a part-time KM1 quarantine students. So we have a part-time teacher who would be teaching online for kids who are quarantined. And it is a 4 hours a day work. So we'll be helping those kids, kindergarten, first grade, for both buildings. I say 2021 MAP test results are still embargoed. They will be presented to the board in October. NWA fall testing will be administered initially today, but we're going to start tomorrow until September 24th for the fall NWA. We do twice testing for MWA, fall and spring. Questions?
With the 6 teachers I know you mentioned are either here or coming shortly, how many openings does that leave us with? Does that fill all of our gaps, or how many openings do we still have?
No, we still want to have at least 1 more teachers or 2. If we had what we want, would be having 2 more teachers. And for certain grades, we would like to at least every 3rd grade would be self-contained. That's what we would like to have. So we would be probably short by 2 teachers for what we really, our how do you say it, our best wish. And, you know, we just were informed that there's another one. One of the reasons why we'll need the two more teachers is there is one teacher, not teacher, but who was substituting and is relocating. We have 3 teachers relocating in October. So fortunately, this new teacher will replace those ones. So relocating out of Missouri. Okay. They were when we hired them, at least for the 2, we knew that they would be leaving, but it was a way to at least have somebody in the classroom until the new teacher arrived from France.
And then for the online quarantine kids, how is that going? I know that was a struggle to sort of figure out how to make sure quarantine kids have ways to engage with their classroom.
Yes, for KN1, it's going to be one teacher doing it. For upper level, they will be joining the classrooms, but also we have teachers who would be doing helping the online kids for each grade level. So what we are trying to figure out is making sure that they will be able just to join the Google Classrooms. So that's probably it will have to be adjusted as we move forward, depending on how well it's working. One thing we just want to make sure this year that we won't make the mistake we made last year is making sure that the kids turn on their camera for online teaching. I mean, last year, because there was a whole discussion about equity, you needed to make it optional. I think it was a big mistake because we don't control who is participating or no. So I think that's something that we'll make sure is happening, and also providing the necessary resources for those kids quarantined for at least for the duration of the quarantine.
But it sounds like that's something you're still trying to figure out how to ensure they have access to those classrooms. So that's still...
They'll have access to the classroom. What I'm saying is whether or not remember, it's going to be you don't know. If it's a whole class, the teacher will just teach online. That's easy. But if it's two teachers, at Arma it's easier because it's already baked into the online class already. It's more complicated in 3rd grade to 5th grade, where we have one teacher dealing with the online kids, and depending on the number of kids online quarantine, they'll be either joining that teacher or joining the Google Classroom, the Google Meet. So. It's going to be a work in progress until we figure it out. The online one is done, it's figured out, but the quarantining, come and go, and the number may change at any time based on what we're doing, whether it's working or not. Middle school, IB, and high school diploma. We have starting meeting to plan for the high school foreign trips that will happen in 11th grades this summer. That's what we know that would be much surer to do it, and the destination under consideration are China, Latin America, Europe, or Africa. It will also depend on the number who's going where. The IB coordinator is also working on submitting our application in early October. I'm talking about application for the diploma program. And she's also having an orientation for the parents, for the middle and high school parents tomorrow on IB orientation. And we're still training teachers. They're attending training. In the summer, we have some teachers who went to Florida, and others will be doing either online or going to be trained for the IB program.
Question, we're turning in our application in early October. How long, does it take a year before we hear back? What's the timetable on that?
So you'll do an application, they'll review it, and you become a candidate member after, We already can do that, sorry. The application for the authorization, they'll revise it, and then they'll set up an authorization visit. They'll come. Maybe I'll figure out the timeline and come. What we want is the first class here will be able to do the diploma. That's that's our goal. So that's why we're submitting it now, and the visiting team may be here probably by next fall.
The IB is usually a junior and senior year, correct?
The IB has 3 programs. For Académie Lafayette, we have 2 programs. The middle year program from 6th grade to 10th grade. At the end of 10th grade, they do what is called a personal project that we'll be submitting. They're now working on their personal project. And then the diploma program will be 11th and 12th grade.
I'm sorry, the diploma is just the 12th grade, or is it the 11th grade?
11th and 12th grade.
In 12th grade, okay. So when we were an IB, you know, we went through all this stuff before, and the school only went up to 8th grade. Do we have to jump through some more hoops to do the 9th and 10th, to add on our 9th and 10th, or because we were approved a long time ago, 9th and 10th just was already in there?
Yes, that's correct. The MYP, middle year program, is normally a 5-year program, 6th to 10th grade. But because we did not have a high school, we had a short program of 6, 7, and 8. Okay, and we did another type of project. But now we have the full-length MYP program. It's just a continuation. We did not need to, our teachers were already trained, so we did not need to have additional training to be certified or authorized. It's already authorized up to 10th grade. So what we're doing is, the only change is, instead of having a project in 8th grade, they'll be having a more substantial personal project in 10th grade to finalize the MYP program.
Okay, and then we'll have the 11th, and what we're wanting to get approved is our 11th and 12th diploma.
Yes.
Now, we have approximately 21 kids in our 10th grade.
Yes.
If my child doesn't want an IB, I can just get a high school diploma. Or do I have to, do all 21 have to enter into the IB?
Yes, the IB diploma is an option too, because what we're going to require our kids to do, at least each of them will have a certificate, IB certificate. Some kids will want to do the full IB, the full IB diploma. To give you an example, for Lincoln has a class average of 250, okay, in an average class. Out of that average class, you have 45 doing the diploma program, okay? So here what we want is maybe much more than that, but for our first year, some of our kids will decide to do the full diploma, some will decide to do certificates, IB certificates that will be.
And out of those 45 at Lincoln, not all of them end up getting that diploma. Sometimes they don't pass all the tests.
Yeah, there's certainly a success rate. I don't know
what it is. I don't either. But when I sat on the school board, it was not very few of them got the real diploma, less than 10. But I think the IB program has been expanded since I sat on the school board. But anyway, the testing is quite hard, as I recall.
It's true. And out of those 40 something, half of them, 50% come from AL.
Okay. All right.
So any
one more question. Who is our IB coordinator?
Katie Wilson is our IB coordinator. Katie is has been involved in the high school planning for how many years now? For more than 7 years anyway, from the beginning. She is she's still a parent. Remember when we started planning the high IB, we had few of our parents who were teachers and had experience with IB was involved.
Okay.
So, and then she's an IB teacher. She was an IB teacher at Lee Summit, West or Lee Summit, one of those Lee Summit high school with IB program. So she's very familiar with that. So she joined our school a couple of years ago, or 3 years ago, and has been moved to the IB coordinator.
Okay.
Doing a great job. I want to thank her too. A lot of work. Presidents.
And actually, I
If
know.
any of you need additional information about what I say, send me an email. I'll share it with you.
And Alonda made it on. I know it was very difficult for her to get on today, so we're going to figure out why she had challenges accessing the meeting, but appreciate her working through that challenges and joining us. So Alonda, if you're there, we would love to hear your report.
Oh, hey, thank you. I appreciate it. A couple things. The PTO, it's going to be a little different this year. So just want to kind of put that out there. We are definitely going to be changing up some things. Excuse me, just wondering, just kind of wondering how the school, kind of going off of what the school is going to be doing. So we're going to kind of go off the changes of how the school might be doing things, with the pandemic and everything. But we do have some things coming up. We are going to try to break off from a little bit from excuse me, the ninth, like the high school. We wanted to maybe donate or gift them some money to start maybe a booster club. We were thinking about that so they can get something that's away from just the school, but so they can have their own entity. We also were still going to try to, if possible, have a couple of fall parties, fall like dances outside, and we were going to try to support, if possible, the high school having a homecoming type thing, just to give them something, because there's around 50 to 60 kids, and we wouldn't mind seeing if we were going to try to help them get something started with like a homecoming the day before Boo Bayou, which would probably be I believe it's the 28th. Don't quote me, but I'm thinking it's the 28th of the month. And trying to have a fall party for the middle school, and then Boo Bayou for, and I call everything Boo Bayou. So when I say this, Boo Bayou is still the fall party, but something for the Boo Bayou for the younger kids, and then the fall dance for the middle school if possible, and maybe having the high school parent or high school kids, if possible, getting some type of credits or whatever, the IB credits, to maybe help with decorating for that dance. So that's kind of what we have in the forecast going, and then just kind of changing up some things on our agenda for the next year. So I just wanted to make sure we have a lot going on. We got a lot of changes going on, and yeah, so we're excited about it. The board's excited about it. We've had a couple of meetings. We just had one Thursday night here at my house, and just trying to get things panned out for the next year. So we're excited.
Do you ever have meetings? I mean, the pandemic is but do you ever have, like, where we used to get together with all the parents, or 20 of the parents, or anything like that? And how would you handle that with the pandemic?
So what we have done right now is that we have the board meeting, and so we had a prior board meeting that was Zoom, and then we had one that we had together with 10 to 12 parents on Thursday at my house, just the board members, and we had a teacher representative on there this past Thursday. But for the future, our future meetings on September 21st, and that's a Zoom meeting. But other than that, we've just been having Zoom meeting. This last board meeting was the first one we've had in public since probably pre-pandemic, because I remember I was on the board and I wasn't the president, but I was the restaurant coordinator. So that probably would have been pre-pandemic. The last time I remember a board meeting in person. So with the other meetings, I guess we got to kind of figure out the direction of the school and if it's something that we can have. I don't have a problem having them in person. So, but if everybody else isn't comfortable, I'm fine with Zoom also. So, but it was a small amount of, with the board. So it was fine. Everybody was comfortable with being in the space on Thursday. So.
And you all have continued to have sort of those open parent meetings throughout the pandemic, just all on Zoom. So those still happen, just not in person.
Yeah. So here's the deal. What we did decide is that prior to this board meeting, I don't ever remember a board meeting that happened more than one time before everything kind of came together. But we always had, I do remember we always had school meetings, like maybe 2 or maybe 3 times a year. But one of the things we did decide on our last board meeting on Thursday night is that every other month, the PTO board, the 13 members, I believe it's because we have a teacher parent on there, we're going to get together every other month and just chat about things. And that's on, that's not the meetings for the whole school, but that's just the board. So, but that's something we decided that we were going to make a strong effort to do, to get together every other month.
And Alonda, I know in the diversity committee meeting, we had talked about making sure somebody was at your meeting on the 21st. Did you hear back from Kelly or Lisa, who I think were the two who mentioned they were happy to attend? Have you figured that out, or do we need to follow up?
We can follow up, but I think I'm pretty sure I can get Kelly to be on that meeting. But we can definitely follow up. Kelly and I, I can get her. I'm pretty sure I can convince her, since she convinced me to start some other committee. So I feel like I can get her to be on that meeting on the 21st because she tricked me. So I think I can get her on that meeting on the 21st.
Okay,
So,
well, let me know if you have any troubles or need anything.
Okay, yeah, I definitely will let you know, but I'm pretty sure I can find somebody from the diversity mini. Yeah, I can find somebody.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for continuing to convene that group. I do think it's so important, just that group sort of leading a sense of community and helping parents feel connected as we grow. It's just harder. It doesn't happen as naturally. So I really appreciate all the work.
And it doesn't. And I will say, I do want to shout out to the board, because this committee that we have this year, they are go-getters. Seriously, they are on it with it's like almost like no kid left behind. It's like nobody left behind. They want to make sure everybody gets just the feel, just everybody, like the teachers, the staff, anybody. They just want to make sure everybody gets something. Like, they want to make sure everybody is included. So I have a really good board, and they are very, very diligent on just trying to just get everybody in there. So the teachers, and getting parents together and getting these flyers out. So you're gonna see kind of a revamp with the PTO. Like, they are really, this is an awesome board that I have, seriously. And I just want to make sure that on record that they know how appreciated I am from them. They are on it, seriously. And we've started this summer trying to just make sure everybody, that we can make sure that we got everybody covered, for just in case we go back down in lockdown. We want to make sure that everybody is where they need to be. And so I'm gonna, again, I got a great board, seriously, and I appreciate it. So.
Well, good. That is great to hear. And we're going to do everything we can to keep our kids safe so we don't have to go back into lockdown. But Yeah, so that's going to be our goal. Okay, so final thing, nothing much from the president's report. I think I forward on to you all. MCPSA is hosting a conference in Columbia on October 5th and 6th that is designed really for boards, for charter boards to engage in a lot of great discussion. So if anybody has the ability to attend, you have that information in your email. It would definitely count towards training that Michelle was talking about. But if you have any questions about that, let me know. Any other final questions, thoughts? Nope. All right, then we can move to adjourn the meeting. Have a wonderful night, everyone.
Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah. All right. Nice work. Anything else you need?
Hey, good night, everyone.
All right. See you later. Have a good night, everyone.